Hello everyone and welcome back to Mysterious Murmurs. I know many of you use these videos to fall asleep, so before you drift off I'd love it if you could leave a comment letting me know where you're listening from around the world. Also don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this video. Story name: The Humming Tree. The first time I heard the tree hum, I thought I was imagining it. It was a low, melodic sound, like the distant drone of a tuning fork. It didn't seem real at first, more like something slipping into my ears from a half-remembered dream. I was standing in the middle of my late uncle's overgrown backyard, surrounded by knee-high grass and the sharp scent of damp earth. The tree was massive, its gnarled roots clawing out of the ground like a giant's fingers. This tree had been the centerpiece of every family gathering when I was a kid. Its branches stretched wide, offering shade during summer cookouts and a place to hang the tire swing my cousins and I fought over. But it looked different now. Older. Tired. Its bark was dark and cracked, oozing a strange amber sap that shimmered in the fading sunlight. I stepped closer, drawn by the sound. The hum grew louder, vibrating through the soles of my shoes, as if the tree had a heartbeat. My fingers grazed the rough bark, and I swear I felt something shift under my touch, like muscles tensing beneath skin. A voice called from behind me. "Don't touch it." I spun around to see Mrs. Corwin, the neighbor who'd lived next door for as long as I could remember. She was standing on her porch, her wrinkled hands gripping the railing so hard her knuckles turned white. "Stay away from that tree," she said, her voice trembling. "It's not safe." I laughed nervously, pulling my hand back. "It's just a tree, Mrs. Corwin." Her eyes narrowed. "That's no tree, boy. Not anymore." I wanted to ask her what she meant, but she turned and shuffled back into her house, slamming the door behind her. I was left standing there, the hum still vibrating in my chest, a strange unease settling over me. That night I dreamed of the tree. In the dream, its branches reached out like arms, pulling me into its dark, hollow trunk. I heard whispers, soft, urgent voices calling my name. They didn't sound angry, but they weren't comforting either. They sounded desperate. I woke up drenched in sweat, my heart pounding like a drum. The next day, I decided to go back to the tree. I told myself it was just curiosity, that I needed to figure out what was making that strange humming sound. But deep down, I knew it was something more. The tree was calling to me, and I couldn't ignore it. I spent hours in the backyard, circling the tree, searching for clues. The hum never stopped, growing louder the closer I got. I noticed things I hadn't seen before, tiny carvings etched into the bark, symbols that looked ancient and strange. The amber sap trickled down the trunk in thin streams, pooling around the roots. When I crouched to touch it, it felt warm, almost alive. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the humming changed. It became sharper, more insistent, like a warning. The shadows lengthened, and the air grew cold. I should have gone inside, but I couldn't bring myself to leave. Something was about to happen. I could feel it, and then I saw it. The tree moved. Not in the wind, not like branches swaying or leaves rustling. It shifted, its roots writhing like snakes, its trunk bending ever so slightly, as if it were turning to look at me. I stumbled back, tripping over a root and landing hard on my back. My breath came in short, panicked gasps as I stared at the tree, waiting for it to move again. But it didn't. That night, the dreams were worse. I was standing in the backyard, the tree looming over me, its branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. The whispers were louder now, overlapping, a cacophony of voices all pleading for the same thing. Help us. I woke up screaming. The days blurred together after that. I couldn't stay away from the tree. Every time I left, it pulled me back, the hum resonating in my bones like a siren song. I started hearing the whispers even when I was awake, faint and distant but unmistakable. One evening, I decided I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed a flashlight and a hatchet from the shed and marched out to the tree, determined to put an end to whatever was happening. The hum grew louder as I approached, the air around the tree vibrating with energy. I raised the hatchet, my hands trembling, and swung it at the trunk. The blade didn't bite into the wood. It stopped mid-swing, as if it had hit an invisible barrier. I tried again, harder this time, but the same thing happened. The tree was protecting itself. And then the ground shook. The roots burst out of the soil, writhing and twisting like living things. I dropped the hatchet and stumbled back, my flashlight flickering as the tree seemed to grow taller, its branches stretching toward the sky. The whispers turned into screams. Faces appeared in the bark, dozens of them, their features twisted in agony. I recognized some of them. My uncle, my cousins, people who had been at the tree over the years, people who had disappeared without explanation. They were trapped. Help us, they screamed, their voices overlapping, desperate and raw. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't move. The roots snaked toward me, wrapping around my ankles and pulling me closer to the tree. And then I saw it. A gaping hollow in the trunk, blacker than the darkest night. It wasn't just a hole, it was a void, a doorway to something far worse. The roots dragged me toward it, the hum growing deafening, the screams piercing through my skull. I clawed at the ground, kicking and thrashing, but it was no use. Just as I was about to be pulled into the hollow, the flashlight in my hand flickered and went out. And everything went silent. I woke up on the ground, the morning sun warming my face. The tree stood as it always had, motionless and silent, its bark smooth and unmarked. But I knew the truth. The humming tree wasn't just alive. It was hungry. I packed my things and left town that same day, but I can still hear it sometimes, in the quiet moments when I'm alone. The low, melodic hum, calling me back. I know I'll have to return one day, because the tree doesn't forget, and it doesn't forgive. If you've enjoyed this journey into the unknown, don't forget to like the video and share your thoughts in the comments below. Have a tale of your own or a legend you'd like us to explore? Let us know. You might just hear it next. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss a story. Because here the darkness is always waiting just for you.